Boomer Sooner.
Handoff up the middle, easy like Sunday morning, touchdown.
This is the Riverwind Casino Coach's Corner on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Riverwind Casino, the official entertainment destination of OU Athletics. Also brought to you by Dos Equis, official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. And by Walden Cleaners. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. This is the Riverwind Casino Coach's Corner. Here are your hosts, Chris Plank and Gabe Ikard.
Well, the bye week is in the rear view. It's time for the latest, greatest edition of Coach's Corner, along with Gabe Ikard. I'm Chris Plank, and we're pumped to welcome in Sooner receivers coach Emmett Jones. What's going on, Coach?
How you doing? How you doing? Thanks
Great.
for seeing y'all again.
It's good to see you again. Second, I think it balances out where what everyone does it twice a year. Does that seem right to you, Gabe?
That seems correct, Plank.
Maybe every so often, Bill Beatonbow get mad because he has a third one. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But
Bill will be fine.
He'll be okay with it. This show, as always, is brought to you by Riverwind Casino, the official entertainment destination of OU Athletics. And our opening salvo, our opening segment, is brought to you by Community Coffee, family-owned Community Coffee, the official brewed coffee of OU Athletics. Taste the difference family makes. How was the bye week for you? Was it a chance to refresh?
Yeah, it was. Getting back healthy and doing some stuff just to all getting on the same page with each other, time and getting that rhythm down and, sharpen up on some areas that we need to sharpen up on, perimeter blocking, where we need to be at, certain coverages, especially for this week, and why small things are very important going into this week. So been trying to attack it.
It's certainly a lot more fun to put in all that work in the bye week coming off a win in Knoxville.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys have moved past that a long time ago now, but just how important, how significant did it feel for your guys and for this team to go and get that win in that environment?
It just makes everyone just continue to chase greatness. Hard work pays off. And it forces the entire program just to lock in, force each other to just stay together, stay on the same page, and do all the things that we need to do on the back end to take the next step as a complete team, as a wide receiver unit, and as an entire program. So it was huge to go down and get the W, know what we have coming up.
Also, I would imagine, and Coach, you've been here as a player, Gabe, you've been there as a player. I mean, I haven't, but I love watching and learning about it from afar. There's got to be a certain sense of, for the grind these players have put in all year and the prep, to go out and have a performance like that, it's got to be a good reassurance for them, too, and increase their confidence heading down the home stretch.
Yes, sir. Huge, and there in Knoxville, hostile crowd, night game, dark mode, adversity hit first half for the offense. Thank God we have a complete team playing complementary football. Defense kept everything together for us and made some minor adjustments down in as a unit in the locker room, and came out and didn't go quite as well like we wanted to with the first possession coming out, but still stayed together, put drive together, man, start getting confidence, start seeing it grow and grow and grow within each play within the upcoming drives. Then 84 came once 84 got the call, man.
He was ready.
Man, he just brought spirit to the sideline, brought spirit to the huddle, and that was good, not only for him, but a lot of the other guys also, too, who's busting their tail at practice. You're seeing it pay off for you, so.
Let's talk about it. Let's get into Jermichael Carter getting his opportunity there in Knoxville. What led to that decision? I assume it has a lot to do with what he's shown you on the practice field.
Exactly. He's moving around much more confident. You can tell he believes in himself. He's feeling good about what we're doing offensively. He has a true understanding for it, wherever we move him around. That we can move him inside, we can move him outside. And then he takes pride in certain things. Not saying that other guys don't take pride, but he loves to get down and dirty when it comes to perimeter blocking. If you never need anybody to go in there and hunt down a Mike back or fit him up, no matter what's going to happen inside the box, he takes pride in that. So just getting guys to utilize their strengths.
I like. We can tell, Gabe and I, being on the sidelines, can tell there's certain players that when they do something, it's like Coach Venables likes that guy. Seems like Jermichael Carter is one of those guys that Coach Venables digs too, because maybe it's part of that aggressiveness when it comes to his blocking capabilities.
Yep, and he was one of the Coach BV. He was one of the first guys to identify him back in the spring. And he called me when I was out on the road. So I think I found one. And so if Coach BV like him, I love him, and I know what he likes about him. He's blue collar, tough, gritty, hard worker. Appreciate everything that Oklahoma has to offer.
It seems like Jermichael Carter is bringing a speed element to that outside wide receiver spot. Yeah. And I know the ball didn't necessarily find him on some of the deeper routes, but I thought going back and watching the game, he was playing with some serious speed. And that is, if we can add that vertical passing component to things offensively, that would be huge for this offense.
Yeah. And, you know, you have those iPads on the sideline, so we'll come back and we'll get together as a unit. We'll watch the previous series. We'll look at a few concepts. And I can remember Jermichael said, "Coach, I ran by that kid." I looked, oh my God.
You did. You ran right by him.
How did we miss that? But I'll tell you this, I put together a one-on-one tape. I've been doing it ever since the season started. Man, he's getting so much better, man. And I keep telling him, that has your fundamentals transition over to one-on-ones, but I need how you move around and how you play in one-on-ones to transition over to everything that we do in 7-on-7 and any team settings, just to help him with that thought process, because he's almost untouchable in every one-on-one rep that he takes.
He's impressive. You got some fun depth in that room, and it's been really cool to watch the development of Isaiah Sategna. I think last time we had you on, it might have been right after his big breakout game early in the season. He had played so well. I think it was against Michigan. What have you seen from him in his continued growth?
Just increasing his level of focus. You know, just staying focused from the beginning to the play through the end of the play. You know, and I kind of, did some research on us the last couple of days for us, certain in-game situations where we need to be sharp at, even though we're playing good in those situations. But I thought that we can increase our abilities in those areas if we just stay locked into the details from beginning to the end of the play, putting that ball away, getting vertical when I need to, being in the spot where I need to be at.
That was a sweet route.
That was a great route.
Now hold on to the ball. I know what you're going to say. I get it. Yeah, I get it. But he has, in my opinion, he has been the biggest playmaker for this offense. When you look at the season in its totality, he just seems like when you need a play, he gets open.
Yes, sir.
Coach, and it's hard to put a value on that.
Yeah, man, those are guys, you really want your whole room to be that way. But, man, he's a detailed guy. We meet every morning. They probably waiting on me right now around 11:30 to 12:30. We kind of touch over the install, the script, make sure we're all on the same page. We do it with the entire offensive staff. Actually, I get the guys up and quarterbacks come up. Some tight ends come up also, too. And just stay sharp, make sure we just dialed in. And we also will get a chance to meet in position rooms also, too. But just his focus level, man, and it stands out. You know, not saying that the other guys are not focused, but he stands out as far as the way he's locked in.
I want to ask one more Isaiah Sategna question. You talked about putting the ball away. He had the tough drop against South Carolina. I'm just kind of watching him. You can tell he's wearing it. But, you know, there's the good cop, bad cop. There's you got to be better. Then there's the guys hyping him up. It seems like he responds well to your coaching. Have you seen that? Is he a guy that seems thirsty for more knowledge, and obviously you can coach him hard if you need to?
Yes, I can coach him extremely hard. I know how to pick my battles, though. In games, I don't want to just kill your spirit. You know, I just got to find a way to lift you up and I want you to think about it, you know, because you'll get a few more reps coming up here within the next series. But he got a good group of brothers over there with him. When something does happen and doesn't go his way, that unit makes sure that, I take care of him on the sideline, because we're going to fix it. We're going to get him right, Coach. Just bag off a little bit because we got him. But one thing about him, he's always smiling, man.
That's awesome.
I call Daddy Sunday morning, and that's what helped me out also, too, on the back end as far as helping him work on some of the stuff he need to work on the back end.
I thought Deion Burks, and I know that Tennessee game feels like forever ago probably, I thought that was about as physical of a game as I've seen him play, mixing it up as a blocker, some of the hits he took after he caught the football, popping right up, letting that defense know it didn't bother him at all. What have you seen from Deion as far as his development this season? Because still, I know he wants the ball more. I know he wants the production to be more significant, but it seems like he's found a pretty consistent level of play for you guys.
Turned into a true student of the game, taking coaching well. It doesn't bother him. He's not resistant towards anything. I critique him hard. Matter of fact, I was on him tough yesterday coming out of practice, just challenged him, just want to see how he respond. And it's always what you want as a player. He want to be great without the ball. He think if he bless the game will take care of him. So if we do the little things right, the big things happen on the back end. We always talk about no one needs to be Superman. I just take care of your assignment within what we're doing from an offensive standpoint. And, just being trustworthy and helping us out on the perimeter when it comes to those screens out on the area, or we got to get those backside push cracks, or we got to strain through the block. Just putting that on tape, we grade that. That's heavily critiqued in the wide receiver position room.
You mentioned Isaiah Sategna always has a smile on his face. Deion Burks has a pretty good personality.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like? What's the chemistry like in your room with guys that just seem to have such a positive outlook on things?
When one is having greatness, we're all having greatness. That's how we look at it. Somebody have to get it done, So if one is doing well, we're all doing well. They all celebrate with each other.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. All right. We got a lot of your dudes to talk about, and we want to learn about the Alabama defense. So we'll take a break. More with Sooner receivers coach Emmett Jones inside the Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind.
Coach's Corner is brought to you by Bob Moore Ford, official sponsor of the Patriot of the Game. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Riverwind Casino, the official entertainment destination of OU Athletics.
Welcome back inside the Coach's Corner. Emmett Jones is our guest. This segment is brought to you by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. We got more of your dudes to talk about, but you okay if we talk Bama? Let's talk about Bama's defense.
It's, I'm told, a rather significant game.
Massive match.
For us and them.
2:30 on Saturday. Coach, take me through a little bit of what you've seen from this Alabama defense as you guys are prepared.
Very physical. Very physical, well coached. Got great athletes on the front end, in the middle, and even on the back end. They got a solid group they like to rotate on the back end. Got a big, true freshman they counting on. We want to see if he can turn and run. Want to put some pressure on him. They have a leader back there in 18 also, too. So they have some experience there. Tua's coming back. We saw him last year also, too. So, once again, challenged.
They do some things schematically, especially in the box, that we haven't seen from any other team this season. How important do you think it is that we had this bye week to get prepared for some of these unique things that they do defensively?
Trust your coaching, trust your training, trust your rules within a blocking scheme up front, and Bill does a great job with that. Also, him and Arbuckle putting that stuff together, they do a great job as far as identifying the strengths of Alabama. And, Bill, he's locked in as far as recognizing, communicating, and being where you need to be with your angle departure and your fits. So it was great, man. And also, too, it's always good on good at Oklahoma, so you're going to see a lot of crazy stuff from our guys up front also, too. So it's just kind of not want to say what we used to, but it kind of cut from the same cloth a little bit,
I want to talk about the passing game as a whole. Yeah. And clearly the central figure of that is John Mateer. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from John since the Tennessee game? Because I'm of the assumption that he's just going to keep getting better and better and better in the passing game as he gets further and further removed from that surgery.
That ball is coming out much quicker, man. It pops off his hand like how it was during fall camp, man. Going after our defense, man. I remind him all the time how I used to just watch him just chew that defense up, man, in fall camp, man. Nothing has changed, It's just part of the process with this team. We had to go through what we went through earlier as a program. We all bounced back and recovered from that, put ourselves in this situation, put together 2 good weeks of practice. Need to close out today with a good, sharp workout. But his natural leadership ability, man, it's sky high. And you can tell he's back confident within himself the way he's directed that huddle, holding guys accountable.
And with that confidence returning for him, I assume the guys in your room feel that. Yeah. And that everyone on this offense, everyone on this football team feels that.
Right on, man. Just match it. You got to match it to be where you need to be at and strain extra hard, because he's one of those guys that want to strain also too. And he's going to try to do some extra stuff if need be with the ball in his hands. So just fitting guys up, man, and always finishing in a dominant position downfield. Come to perimeter blocking.
He's just noticing it, but part of the responsibility for Coach Jones, in addition to the receivers coach, still passing game coordinator too, right?
Yes, sir.
So with that in mind, I'm just curious, John Mateer, you do spend some time with him. He seems like he's got a great chemistry, not only in how he talks to the guys on the sidelines and as a leader, but just in general with this team right now. How do you see his chemistry and his development as a leader?
He's back again, man, really just coming before I came down to see you guys, man. He walked by the office, stopped, turned around, came back in the office. said, man, you hadn't done this, man, in a long time. Man, I can tell you back feeling like how you normally felt. Yeah, Coach, I had all the guys downstairs. We met, went over the script, talked about some stuff that we saw yesterday, what we need to clean up. That's awesome. I mean, that's great, man. And just being on the same page, man, you can tell he's being confident, man, with his, like, it's just natural leadership with the guys up front, running backs, the guys out on the perimeter, whole unit, coaching staff. And it's perfect timing for it, too. I told him, man, you go down here and put on a show, man, come legendary.
It'd be an awfully good time for him to put on a show, and for your guys to put on a show in the passing game. Yeah. But have you guys, as a staff, we all know what this game means for this season, for this team, but is that something you guys have talked to the team about? Is this a game where you talk about, hey, this is what's on the line as far as the college football playoff and all that stuff?
That's why you come to Oklahoma, to be in these type of situations. Every practice is almost like preparing for a championship. Every game is a championship. Maybe it's like the last game of the season, the final game of the year. Everybody's watching. That's just how we look at it. Every play is a championship rep, you know. So that's why we're here. We already know what's in front, what's at stake, you know. So that's how BV hold us accountable. That's the situation he put us in at practice, and we relay that to the players and hold those guys accountable, man. It's always 4th and inches, man, every time we take a step. So looking forward to it.
Anything else in Bama that caught your eye that we need to talk about defensively before we talk about Keontez and a couple receivers?
I know we're not going to dive into, hey, let's talk about the route concepts we're going to throw at him. But I do think that Mateer and your wide receiver core, like, making big plays in the passing game, I think that could be the difference in the game. Yeah. When you look at the strengths of their defense and some of the things that they can accomplish offensively with the level that Ty Simpson's playing at, I think Mateer and how this receiver core perform in the passing game are going to have a huge impact on what happens on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
That chemistry, that speed, that athleticism. Hopefully, we'll have a chance to see Keontez Lewis back. Now, there's availability reports, and we won't get into that with Coach.
Is he playing?
But I will say it's been fun to see him continue to battle, right? Because he had a heck of a debut and had a strong start. Took the shot at Temple, took another shot. But how have you seen him battle and persevere?
Man, it's good to see him back out there doing some of the stuff that he's doing. I love, man, him being paired up with some of the guys we just named in certain situations. He's a leader. You know, he's high IQ for the position, extremely fundamentally sound, confident, just bring a different type of veteran leadership to that whole huddle, especially with those young wideouts also too. So glad to see him back out at practice, to be honest with you.
And he was a guy, going back and thinking about, you know, when he had the impact early in the season, he was the middle of the field guy. Mm-hmm. And that's an area, I know you know, but that's an area of the field that Alabama has struggled to defend at times in the passing game. So it would be great if we could get Nine back out there on the field, work in the middle of the field playing.
Yeah, he's fearless too. I mean, that's what's impressed me about him. I know he's not truly a wide receiver, but I did want to ask a little bit about Jaren Kanak before we got to Giovanni Gibson. Because he was a natural offensive player whenever he came out of high school, those traits were there. But what have you seen in his development as a pass catcher, moving from linebacker to tight end and having a whale of a season?
Confident. You can tell he's getting extreme confidence for his route running, trusting his hands, understanding concepts. I think he's out of that defensive mindset completely. He's an offensive guy in the huddle, talking crap with the wide outs, talking crap against the defensive guys. Just understanding what it takes on the back end, scramble drill, being where you need to be at, man, and just being one of those, another trustworthy guy for John. And then just being, you know, just bringing some more strength and grit out on the perimeter too with those wide outs.
Looking at Giovanni Gibson, we've seen him out there on the field the last several games. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't look like he's quite back to where he was before the injury, but have you seen Giovanni remain positive, keep putting the work in? Like, what has his attitude been like as he tries to get back kind of to full go?
I was asking questions after practice. Is my effort getting better? Do I kind of look the same a little bit? Am I transitioning better out of my route? Do I seem confident with my hands? I told him, man, I said, the last 3 days, man, you putting together 3 good days of work, man, so keep on doing what you're doing. It's a process. You know, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to hold you confident. I'm going to hold you accountable, but I understand it's a process. As long as you stay confident and believe in yourself, you know, we're all on the same page, you know, but it's there. You know, like I say, this bye week was perfect for him along with his team, and confidence building moving forward.
How the freshmen hanging in there? Boy, they looked the part, that's for sure, whenever you see them out there.
Every time I see Manny Choice, I'm like, what? I played with Calvin Johnson in Detroit, and I'm like, Calvin, is that you?
Anything crazy happen, man, they ready to go. They get reps, man. Sometimes you see them at practice, they end up with the ones with John, because you just never know. And the way we rotate these guys, Carry-On, Kearney, Reagans, all those guys, man, they all rotate, you know, just like the Jermichael process and how that worked out against Tennessee. There's other few guys also that was ready to go also too, but Jermichael, he just had a different type of confidence on that sideline. He was always in my ear. I know X, coach. I know Z. I'm ready. Whenever you need me, I'm ready, coach. I know X. I know Z. So that just gave me strength in him also too. Something happened, get him on in, you know. Then you look for ways also too to keep guys fresh on the field.
Gotcha.
You know, keep guys fresh. When, you know, we want to play long season, keep it going as long as possible, and keep those legs fresh.
Love it. Hey, thanks for your time, Coach. Best of luck against Bama.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see you Saturday.
Yes, see you Saturday.
There he is, Emmett Jones. Quick break. Brandon Hall is next inside the Coach's Corner.
Coach's Corner is brought to you by Riverwind Casino. It's always a good time. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Sooner Kids Club. Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Kids Club presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Devon Energy. We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free.
And we've won.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind. The segment brought to you by the official entertainment destination of OU Athletics. That's Justin Yahola and our crew at Riverwind Casino. B. Hall, Brandon Hall joins us, Coach. Thank you. I know it was a surprise to find out you were going to be here today.
Yeah, I was just walking by.
Take us through what the off week, what the bye week was like. Coach kind of joked, the meetings, lots of meetings, but a lot of South scouting went on last week, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing, this point in the year, you know, you kind of really got to start looking at, you know, the things that you need to do just from a physical standpoint to kind of heal up. And then, you know, as much as anything, get as much mental work done as you can and try to get an entire team back on the field together, you know, having a couple guys dinged up there, so on and so forth. But lots of meetings, as you say, shorten down practice, go back to the basics a little bit, look at, you know, the individual things that we need to work on from a safety perspective, and then really focus on those for a few practices as far as individuals. So,
I know the Tennessee game probably feels like it was forever ago for you, but a couple of your guys had, you know, game-changing plays in that game, making plays on the football. Peyton Bowen, then Robert Spears-Jennings. Just how rewarding is it for you to see your guys make those types of game-changing plays in a massive game like that one was?
Well, I thought the staff did you know, for the most part, did a really good job of game planning. You know, I know looks like we gave up quite a few yards passing, but going into the game, we knew that they were the most explosive offense that we had faced up to that point. And we really felt like going to the game that if we could eliminate the explosive plays in the middle of the field, that we would have a really good opportunity to win the game going down the stretch. And so to have the 2 picks, you know what I'm saying, and then obviously R. Mason having the big turnover for a touchdown, it was huge, you know what I'm saying, and I thought it was just very, very reflective of what we practiced and what we told our guys. And so when those guys take the idea or take the game plan, it's, you know, as a whole, and then go out and do what they did, man, it's really cool to watch.
What was your reaction? Where were you during the R. Mason play?
I was on the sidelines, you know.
Were you front and center right there?
At the start of it, I was, and then, you know, I'm not going to chase him down, but I didn't know he'd scored. It took like an hour and a half for him to get there, you know, and so I had no idea. You know, the biggest thing when that happens is, you got to go right back out.
Yeah.
And so then you got to be very thoughtful of how many reps guys just went. You know, do I need to make a quick pit stop and get maybe another guy out there for a play or two just to make sure that we're fresh, especially when a team like that spreads you out and throws the ball a lot.
You rotate some guys though. I mean, is this the largest rotation you've had, 4 or 5 guys that you're rotating in, or is it pretty...
Yeah. I think to me, and for me, I just think that now that you're playing in the SEC, it's like playing in the NFC West, man. I mean, it's just a big physical league, and you got to just continually develop and get guys ready to play. And so those young guys, even though they're freshmen, we brought them to what we believe to be the best football program in the country, and we feel like that they came here with the purpose of contributing as freshmen. And so I tell guys in recruiting, I'm not recruiting guys to redshirt. I'm recruiting guys to come in and play as freshmen and develop and go play at the highest level in some of the best college atmospheres in the country.
Peyton Bowen continues to play good ball for you in the back end of this defense. I feel like he's really starting to reach the type of potential we thought he had when you guys brought him into the program.
Yeah, so, the biggest thing, is you're seeing him healthy for the first time since his freshman year. He's a freshman All-American, blocked 2 punts, and you saw this promise, and then again created the turnover in the Texas game as a freshman, and actually had an ankle sprain, and then last year had the foot injury in the South Carolina game returning a punt. And he's very intelligent and one of the best tacklers we have in the open field. And so for him to be healthy finally, Gabe, you know as well as anybody that it's a game of repetition. And when a guy's able to get out there and get the amount of snaps that he's getting, the instincts eventually take over. I think he's got some of the best ball skills I've ever been able to coach. And so
only problem here, we can't be getting tackled by offensive.
Well, if somebody would just tackle the one or just block the guy.
I agree, but we can't be getting tackled by offensive tackles.
Well,
I mean, he's a returner.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, you've proven O linemen are not very athletic. So
exactly.
Right.
I've been there. We can't have a safety that has great return skills getting tackled by O-linemen. We got to block better, there's no doubt.
And Coach Hall's got a point, though, because that was the first thing that Brent Venables brought up whenever I'm like, how's he getting tackled by an offensive lineman? And Coach goes, guy's got to block for him. So
it's all connected.
It is, yeah.
It's fun, and it was really fun in that moment, by the way, watching the highlight. Eli's on the coverage, and here's Peyton that comes over the top. But, I mean, did he deke the quarterback on that play? That was pretty impressive from Peyton Bowen, or is he just back there playing center field?
It's all coaching. I'll just say that.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
But no, he had great depth to start with. You go back and goes all the way back to Billy Bowman, and his first year coaching him, he had all these PBUs but no interceptions. And then the next year, we just really made a point to play with really good depth. And so this last game, we knew they like to throw the ball deep, and so just the whole week just starts with depth. And when you have depth, you're able to drive down on the ball rather than have to rally to it, and he did that, and it showed up. Both him and RJ.
You've got, you got RSJ in the back of that defense as well. Just a veteran presence. I just love the physicality he's playing with now. It seems like he's turned it up a notch a little bit, especially when he's coming and fitting the run.
Yeah, he's a guy that's played since he was a freshman. You talk about freshmen contributing, and I love just because it's funny for me because you see where he's at now compared to when he was a freshman, and he's one of the obviously the captains of this team, but he's a guy that you trust, and I was glad for him to get a pick because he's had a heck of a year with PBUs, and he was proud of himself actually on the sidelines. It's pretty funny to finally get one. So he does a great job in the run game as well.
Where have you seen? He's one of the day oneers. And maybe this is something we've asked before and I've just forgotten. I'm getting old, Coach. But where have you seen his biggest growth and improvement since he stepped on campus?
His preparation. I think that's been the biggest thing for these guys, whether it's Owen Heineke or even Peyton Bowen. The thing that they're all talented, right? They're at Oklahoma. But the hardest thing to do is to get him to understand what it takes to be great and the amount of preparation that goes into that. And as everyone knows, we do a lot of things defensively, but when everybody's on the same page and we're firing on all cylinders, so to speak, it's pretty cool to watch. And that's RJ doesn't get rattled like he used to, and he sees things before they happen, and it's all because he prepares for those moments.
Do you ever get worried Because every time Boganowski hits someone, I just feel like they're going to throw a flag on him for hitting people too hard. Because that's a thing in college football now. Anytime someone gets hit hard, they just throw a flag to try to, and then we'll review it. That seems to be the mode of operation for whatever reason. But in all seriousness, what type of growth have you seen from Michael playing the safety position and not just being, a hitter?
I see Michael as a guy that's just as quality of a starter as RJ. I even told him after the Tennessee game, where I've seen him grow up is, when you're young and you know that and you're playing on a big stage, there's so much pressure that you put on yourself to live up to the hype or the expectations. And man, against Tennessee and going back even the last, 2 games, even, South Carolina, you're starting to see him really just play free and let his instincts take over. And he's one of the best tacklers that I've ever been able to coach. And he's going to have an amazing career here.
Kind of an infectious and contagious personality to him, it seems like, as well.
Maybe you talk to him more than I do. I don't think he says 5 words.
Well, okay. Let me. I don't necessarily mean.
I think it's more his play.
That's what I meant.
Where you watch it and you go, "Oh my God!"
Right. Maybe I get suckered in like that because
he's a close talker. You really can't understand him. I'm always on the back.
Gotta get real close. Yeah. Those quiet ones are the craziest.
You don't want to piss him off. You know what I mean? That's one thing.
The first thing I noticed. Hey, before we break, obviously we want to talk about Reggie Powers and we want to talk about Alabama. But there was a moment on Saturday night where I looked out and like 2's running on the field, and you see Omarion Robinson. You want to talk about a youngster that looks the part. Take us through his growth and to get an opportunity like he did the other night.
Well, he is just going to come light years since the spring. And when a guy comes in the spring, you just forget. Because you see the highlight tape, you see the talent, and you just have such high expectations for people. And to see the person that he is now, another really quiet person. And he was a guy that, I think at one point had thought maybe was going to redshirt. But when you're talented and can run and can tackle and play the game at a high level like he can, it's like, we need him on that field. And so I've become more conscious of getting him in the game, you know what I mean, and starting to develop him because you're just one sprained, ankle away from having to be the guy. And so if you're not finding situations, finding times to get those guys out there and start getting them reps, at some point you may be forced to when they're not ready.
Yeah, he's going to be something pretty special. Cool to see him get those opportunities. Quick break. We'll preview the Bama offense next inside the Coach's Corner. Stick around.
Coach's Corner is brought to you by Dos Equis, the official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. OU's 2025 football games are available on Ritmo 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on these stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show.
Final segment with the coaches, brought to you by Bob Moore Ford, the official sponsor of the Patriot of the Game. Appreciate the support of Bob Moore Ford. Real quick, Coach, before we dive into you and Gabe breaking down Alabama, you've been in this league for a while. For Oklahoma, it's our 2nd season, and I think we're seeing every week in, week out, it's a grind. And for everyone that was down after Ole Miss, hey, that's this league, man. You're going to have games like that. It's tough.
And that's just something that me and Coach Venables talked about even in the hallway after the Ole Miss game,
I was standing right there. Sorry.
Yeah, and you talk about the opportunities that were missed, right, in that game, and what if, and if you could have the Penn last game. But I just said, if you'd won the game, you still had to go to Tennessee, and it's just this. It's the world that we live in now in this conference, and every week you're going to have a short-term memory, and you're going to win some, and unfortunately you may lose 1 or 2 going, as you go through it. But I think that's why there's so much respect for being in this league. And you can't lose sight of the quality of football. And you can't lose sight of just the growth. We have a really good football team, but at the same time, we're also playing against really good football teams. And the margin of error is small for both sides, and so this is by far and away the best that we've played as a team in the last 4 years. But, at the same time, the teams they're really good. So, you gotta be on your A game every week.
How much fun is it for you, for your players, for this team, knowing what's on the line this Saturday and being able to go and play and coach and just be on that stage. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, I try not to think about that. I think that, it just goes back to the Ole Miss game. If you look at every game as the Super Bowl, so to speak, which, you could argue that every week, you can get on an emotional roller coaster that really undermines what you're trying to accomplish, and that's consistency. For me, having, an emotional balance of just playing the next play, playing the next game, and playing at a high level, rather than trying to make this team into this or making this player into that. Because if you start going down that road with the quality of opponents that we play, you're going to be very inconsistent. And at some point, it's going to come back to bite you in the butt, because you can't live like this, you know what I mean? And so for me, we talk about the standards of playing at Oklahoma, what Oklahoma's about, and, not just getting caught up in just what everybody else expects or what everybody else is saying on Twitter, and just be the best version of yourself. And that just starts with getting the call, getting in a great stance, getting your feet in the ground, and playing at a high level as far as your effort.
Is that harder than it's ever been with how omnipresent social media is?
Yeah, it's and I wouldn't, obviously it's not impossible, but I mean, with the amount of information that's out there now with gambling and all the things that, Twitter tells us all each week who should win and who should lose, and how this game should play out. And, unfortunately, it's everywhere. And so, it's just the fact of it. But, the good thing about guys like, Peyton and RJ that have been through it a couple times, they begin to see the quality of the message, and that there is no quality in that message, and that they face the reality of winning and losing, and knowing that at the end of the day, wins are great, but you also learn a lot from losing, and you got to go forward.
Let's talk some Bama. I want to start in, clearly when you look at their offense, it's Ty Simpson, those wide receivers, but I want to start talking about their run game. They have struggled to run the ball efficiently by really any metric that you look at. How important is it for you guys to continue that trend and to make them as one-dimensional as possible, even though if they are a one-dimensional team, they are extremely dangerous with Ty Simpson and those receivers?
I think it helps, if you can win first down or even second and medium, when you're able to stop the run, it helps shrinks the call sheet down quite a bit, you know what I mean? And so when you're able to keep people in second and long or even third and long, it really validates the thought process for your players. Their mind is a lot clearer as far as what they expect. And so, we have a really good D-line, and those guys do an amazing job of sometimes playing a number short in the box, so to speak, as people like to say. But at the end of the day, it's about taking away what people do well, but at the end of the day, football's a physical game played by physical people, and it all starts with the run game.
What have you seen from Ty Simpson? Because for me, he's as good as I've seen in a long time at this level of playing the quarterback position from the pocket, changing protection, changing plays, reading out the defense, going through progressions. I've been very impressed with him.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is watching him. He's very confident. He knows what he wants to do. He gets in the right play, and the players can feel that, with just his sense of urgency and how he communicates with them. And, he's got great confidence right now, has a great understanding of the offense. Like you guys said, does a really good job of looking people off in the passing game and then setting up shot plays in the run game. And he's a very intelligent player who's playing with really good confidence. And he's surrounded by a great group of receivers and does a really good job of really getting the ball to, a lot of different people. And that makes it hard. Again, it goes back to we all look at the same matrix, right? And when you have a 50-50 on about everything, it kind of you gotta prepare for everything. So.
Yeah, nice to be able to whittle it down.
Yeah.
Just a ton to prepare for. You are a guy that has been around this league. A lot of people, this is going to be the first game they've ever seen in person, potentially at Tuscaloosa in Alabama. Well, Gabe's been there?
No.
No? First game
time.
you've seen? You were there with us as a grad assistant in 2004, too?
Yep.
And then obviously when you were at Auburn.
Yeah.
What's it like?
Well, I always say, I'd explain this to people. I lived in Alabama for 9 years, and so there's a big difference between country and southern. Like I know what you're talking about. I'm country, they're southern, and but what's amazing to me is I've always felt like Alabama and Oklahoma were very similar. Mm-hmm. They have a very prideful fan base, and they've been winning for a long, long time, very historical fan base. And so they have very high expectations and standards for their football program. And it's a really cool place, a lot of pageantry, a lot of tradition, and it's going to be fun for our players, man. It's one of the best places in the country to play.
This may be a dumb question.
No such thing.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Hold on.
How helpful do you think it is for this team that they had the experience in Knoxville before going and playing in this environment in Tuscaloosa?
I think it's huge. I think the longer that you play in this league and you continue to go to these, it's no longer just playing in the Cotton Bowl each year, this big, huge environment. Now you're going to Alabama and Auburn and all these different places, and you almost, the longer you play in this league and the longer you play, and you get these older guys, you begin to just enjoy it all. You really appreciate the energy. Like even the other night, in the Tennessee environment, and trying to put that in the past, obviously, but it was fun, and I think if you go into those environments maybe once a year, or you're not, you're going to some of these places that aren't as excited about football, that can kind of be like, oh man, what are we, but you playing that week after week, you begin to like, hey, this is what it's about.
Let's keep them quiet, right? It's funner to make that stadium silent.
I just wonder, and I know it's an afternoon game, but I just wonder if they're going to give you a spotlight like Tennessee did.
How about that? I had a spotlight on me at midfield for the coin toss.
He walked out, and they put a spotlight on him.
It's one of the coolest pre-show. Do you even get to enjoy those, the pre-game shows, environments and
He's
stuff?
got eyes.
Yeah, I mean...
that was my second time at Tennessee. I'd never been a part of the night game scenario, and so I always come out early because I'm not into all the stuff that goes along with the team running. I just want to get out there and get my headset on and kind of get my mind right. But I actually stayed back and kind of went out as the team went out just so I could kind of see it. And it's amazing the amount of time and effort and probably money that goes into those pregame entrances now. It's like an AC/DC concert.
I told my wife, I was like, it felt like there was a football game in the middle of a music festival.
Yeah, like a rave was going on.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Like if Taylor Swift would have just shot out of the 50-yard line, like you would not have been shocked.
All right, Coach. Can't wait to see you in Tuscaloosa. Best of luck this week, and appreciate you in a surprise appearance for him.
Hey,
stick around.
I made it.
We're back to wrap up Coach's Corner next.
Thank you to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola. Coach's Corner is brought to you by One Oklahoma, powered by Sooner Sports Properties, fan-fueled, athlete-focused. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. The Sooner Sports Podcast is presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino.
Final segment brought to you by Warren Cap, proud sponsor of Sooner Athletics. And it's time to break down the matchup against Alabama, brought to you by One Oklahoma, powered by Sooner Sports Properties, fan field, athlete focused. Gabe, Alabama, too good.
Good football team. Really, really good football team. This is going to sound silly, but the Sooners are going to have to go to Tuscaloosa and play really well to win.
Yeah.
You can't bring your C-plus game and walk out of there with a win. They're going to be dialed in. It's going to be a tough environment, but I can't wait, man. First time I've been there. I can't wait.
Great job by the coaches today. We'll see you next week inside the Coach's Corner. Enjoy Saturday in Tuscaloosa. Boomer Sooner.
This has been the Riverwind Casino Coach's Corner, presented by Riverwind Casino. Always a good time. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.